Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jai Hind, the friends of Desh. Today, we are honored to have Brigadier Amul Asthana sir with us in our interactive session. Amul Asthana sir served as the 2IC of 1 by 11 Gurkha Rifles during the Kargil War. And today, sir is going to share the journey of the Gurkha Rifles, the Gurkha fighters during the war with us in this interactive session. Sir, we welcome you, and it is really an it is really an honor for us to have you with us. Thank you so much, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay. Thank you indeed, Team Desh. In fact, it is an honor for me to be speaking to you and to be able to talk about this very unique experience that we have had. So I'll start with this. Uh, this was a very difficult and a very great experience that we had of fighting in these heights. The heroes of this war. Here you can see Brigadier Devender Singh. He was the overall commander of the Batalik sector. Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, Paramveer Chakra, posthumous, of course, and the Gorkha soldier. Gorkha soldier who was forever brave and leading. So we start with this. I am from First 11 Gorkha Rifles, which is titled Bravest of the Brave. Very few units in the Indian Army have got this title, Bravest of the Brave, and it comes because any unit which has got two of the highest gallantry awards, that is, in our case, Lieutenant Puneet Nath Dutt, Ashok Chakra posthumous, and Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey, Paramveer Chakra posthumous. It is their bravery and the award of the highest gallantry award, which has given us, the First 11 Gorkhas, the title Bravest of the Brave. I now go on to the story. Here you can see the areas of northern part of Kashmir. This is Kargil, and on the right side of that you can see this area which is marked in red. This is Batalik. Little further to the north you can see Siachen. It is in Batalik that this action of First 11 Gorkhas took place in 1999. This is a bird's eye view of the kind of terrain. It was mountainous and full of snow. You know, in May, the snow had not yet started to melt. So we had heavy snow over there. Within this Batalik area, which I showed you, which is marked in red, this is the area of our action. Approximately 25 kilometers, we started about 25 kilometers away from the line of control. That's the depth of the area. And from east to west, if we say approximately, the brigade was covering 40 kilometers worth. And within that, our own area is 23 kilometers by about 18 kilometers. With on the right side, 5203. On the north is the line of control, 5300. On the left side is Batalik Jubar. And we were starting from the road. The road head was called Dah, which you can see marked over here, and our base was Yaldor, which was a few kilometers away from the road. That's the kind of terrain. This is Khalubar top. It was a pinnacle with a boulder on top. Typically in Gorkhali, it was called Chucho Donga. That means a very sharp boulder. This is a picture showing the overall extent of the operations conducted by 1st 11 Gurkhas. It was not one post that was captured. This was a very large area. Starting from Da at about 9,000 feet, we reached Yaldor on the 8th of May. And from there, initially we were told that, look, there are four or five militants which have come to an area, so you need to get them. We reached Da late at night, and from there onwards, we started for Yaldor. We were at about 16,000 feet very soon. We were told that there were some militants, but in this area, we did not find any. There were also two patrols of another unit which had been ambushed by the militants, so-called at that time. They were known as militants or as anti-national elements, irregular forces. We did go and recover those. Here you'd be able to see some of those pictures here. Somehow it's not moving ahead. So we were able to recover the patrols, our own Indian Army patrols, which had been fired upon and ambushed by these. Actually, they were Pakistanis. People were saying they were irregular forces or militants, but later on we recovered their identity cards, we recovered their regimental photographs, ration registers, and their private diaries also. So they were very much regular forces of the Pakistan Army. Now I'll just go over this map. We started very early. In fact, on the 9th of May, we reached Yaldor on the 8th of May. This is Yaldor. There's a full. This is called the Khalubar ridgeline on the right side, which you can see, going all the way up to 0.5287. This Nala in the middle, Yaldor Nala. On the left side, we have the Kukartang Ridge, which had on the left side of that 0.4821. This was called Pandey Ridge. Captain Manoj Pandey was sent here first to discover where is the enemy. We did not know where is the enemy. We were getting fire from many places, not just one place. So we realized that there were not 4 or 5 militants. There seemed to be many more of the enemy over here. So again, we had to send another patrol looking for these militants on the other side. This is called Kukartang Ridge. So here, Lieutenant Rawat was sent over here. We found far too much of force of the enemy. There were about 8 to 10 machine guns and a lot of artillery fire coming. And that position had to be reinforced. So Lieutenant Samiran Roy was sent over there. So this is the left side, as we can see. I will go a little further. This is the picture which we took on the spot on the 17th of May. You can see Lieutenant Manoj Pandey in the center. I hope you can see.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir.
This is Lieutenant Samiran Roy and Lieutenant Rawat. He had about 28 days of service. He had just joined the unit, a very young officer. Now, you see, and the others were our junior commissioned officers who were part of my main core group. We were, first 11 Gorkhas had done a very wonderful and successful tenure at the Siachen Glacier in 1998. And we had de-inducted from there to this area just short of Batalik in February. And from there, we were de-inducting to a peace station. So when you are de-inducting to a peace station, what happens is that all the pending leave people who could not go on leave for 1 year, they are given a leave, 40% is on leave. All your officers go and do their courses which have been waiting, and so on. So at this time when we got into Batalik, we were very short in terms of manpower. Instead of having about 800 men, we had about total, all told, about 200 men. And these were the three officers. Normally you have about 15, 20 officers in the battalion, which we had in Siachen. We had about 18 officers. Here we had three officers who were with us at this time. Lieutenant Captain Manoj Pandey, that time he was a lieutenant. Lieutenant Samiran Roy and Lieutenant Rawat. Major JJS Rotela was also there. He is the one who took the battalion up to Yaldor. But unfortunately, there itself, he got high altitude pulmonary edema and he had to be evacuated on the 10th of May. So we were left with three officers at this time. As I told you, we were de-inducting. So when you're de-inducting, you return your cold clothing, you return your radio sets, you return your heavy weapons, which are part of the sector. Your medical teams also de-induct. So this is the state that we started with. And yes, we also return maps. So the first day that we went in, we had one map. I had the map. So when you wanted to send somebody to go to that hill or go to that area which you cannot see, so we had to draw a map. Like this is one of the maps drawn by one of my soldiers who is telling me that, sir, this is the hill, this is where the enemy is. You can see it marked in red, which I have marked now. And this is where I want artillery fire. So, a map is a very basic requirement for a soldier, and especially in these areas. So these were some of the initial challenges which we had. Of course, all these challenges were overcome. Do you see this
Yes,
drawing? What do you think it is?
sir.
Reduce.
Radio.
Yeah. So this is a telephone with a
Okay.
crank handle, which you can see. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are some of the very old these are some of the very old telephone sets which were available. And this was the only telephone which was available to this whole battalion, which was covering a very large area. By that time, we were covering about 8 to 10 kilometers and 3 ridge lines. And this was the means of communication which we had. So these were some of the criticalities, Now I get back to this map. We were, can you see the pointer here?
Yes, sir.
So this is the yellow line, yellow and red tick marks. So this is where we were
Yes.
spread out. And on the 17th, we got orders that there is some enemy in Jubar. Jubar was a long way off. We had to go down to Da and climb up again. Maybe about 1.5 days is the time that it took. So Captain Manoj Pandey, along with a company, was sent to Jubar, and incidentally, we were the first to again face the enemy in Jubar. So one company of ours was in Jubar, and the rest were here in Kukartang, and some were here in Ganasok. So we were spread out like this at this time. So that's the kind of terrain. What picture what you're seeing is Khalubar, which is being shown from the base side. You could appreciate the kind of boulders and the kind of terrain which is available there. Of course, this photograph does not have the snow because this picture has been taken. We were very fortunate to go back to this place in 2012. 2012. When we went there, that is the time we took this picture, and by that time, a road has been made to this place. Uh, Now, it was in the, sorry, I'll just come back to this. So, this was Jubar, as I had mentioned, where we were there from 17th of May to about 30th of May. Now, again, there was a requirement at a very far off from our location, 0.5203. So we withdrew Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey. Now, Jubar, incidentally, was handed over, and 1st Bihar Battalion, they took over at Jubar, and they are the ones who captured Jubar later on. And our
Notice
company
that.
withdrew from there and went on towards 0.5203 on the east. That is approximately 30 kilometers in this kind of terrain. It takes maybe about 2 to 3 days to reach here. And Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey was again applied over here. Meantime, there was a lot of battle continuing in the area of Kukartang. We were able to capture part of this called Barkar Ridge and Pandey Ridge. And same time, the battle was going on in 0.5203 till the 26th of June. It was at about this time that we were fortunate to get porters and ponies, as you can see over here.
Mhm.
Till then, there was a big challenge. All the men whom we had were applied in various places facing the enemy. And logistics was a little problem to get the food, to get the water, ammunition, and to evacuate the casualties. It was a very big challenge at that time. Once we got these small donkeys, as they're called, they became the powerhouse, and local porters, Ladakhi people who was so brave, and they could carry so much of load, and they were with us everywhere. There was no fear in them either. We also got the artillery support, we got maps, we got batteries, radio sets. So slowly, we got the things. And also, uh, my advance party, which had gone down to Pune for the next posting, it was about 150 strong. We were in Pune also and in Barmer, Rajasthan. So all those
Yes.
people came back. More than about 170 people from there came back. 270 soldiers who were on leave, they came back. Officers came back. So by about mid-June or towards the end of June, we were a much, much stronger force. Now, around the 2nd of July, we went on for Khalubar. I'll get back to the map. Now, from Yaldor, you can see this arrow. We started moving on the 2nd of July and moving towards area of Khalubar. You can see this over here.
Yes.
This movement took quite some time, and the enemy continuously kept firing artillery fire and air defense machine guns on this column that was moving. On in the end of towards the end of in the early part of June, we were joined by Colonel Lalit Rai, who was the commanding officer of my battalion. He is the one who led this attack towards Khalubar and bunker area. So I'll describe this now. This is the area of Khalubar top, which you can see. It took about 17 hours of continuous movement to be able to reach. And mind you, again, I'm saying this, it was a lot of snowfall over there at that time. The picture has been taken much later, where there is no snowfall. So now, as we were moving into Khalubar, there were a lot of action taking place in different areas. So I have not been able to take a picture, of course. At that time, we didn't have a drone, which we have nowadays. So
Yes.
I made a sketch of that. You can see, different action is taking place in different parts of the battle. I hope you can see that.
Yes. Yes.
So this is the kind of action which was taking place. In some place, something was happening. One company which had gone with Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey towards the, let's say, as we were approaching on the left side, with the CO, commanding officer, on the right side. This is the action which I am trying to portray in this sketch. While still different columns were catching up. Now at night, what happens is that it's very difficult to navigate. At night, you do not know where is the next boulder, which route you're following, which route the previous person has followed. You can't see. So there is a lot of what shall I say, dispersion that takes place. Now, on the left side, where what we have called bunker area, there was a lot of enemy over there. And early in the morning, we realized that we had got into the enemy post. So there was enemy in front of you, some enemy behind you, and your friendly soldier beyond the enemy. So it was very difficult, or let's say dangerous, to start using your rifles and firing. So that time, instead of firing, which you could hit your own men also. So we were using kukris. You know, the Gurkha soldier is known by his kukri. So you can see a
Yes.
kukri very much in evidence over here. So at night or in times when it is more advantageous to use the kukri. So this is the time when it was used. Heads were cut off like this. I'll show you some pictures, which at this time, of course, nobody was taking pictures. So this is called the bunker area. Eventually, it was captured, led by Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey. And he made good his promise, which said, if death strikes before I prove my blood, I swear I will kill death. Now, this is something which was written in his notebook in school when he was a schoolboy. So that's the kind of motivation, and that's the kind of officer he was. So this is the location. This is called bunker area. You can see some of these bunkers over here. Can you see them clearly?
Yes.
This was after it was captured. You can see some of these dead Pakistanis over here.
Mm, yes. Yes. Yes.
And this is bunker area. So this column of Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey went up in this manner. And finally, because Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey was able to capture bunker area, now the routes were open to capture Khalubar on the north and point 4812 towards the south. So bunker area was very critical, and it was very well held by the enemy. Captain Manoj Kumar Pandey over here, he first destroyed one of these. You can see over here. You can count them over here. You can see one bunker here, 2, 3, and 4. You can see these.
Yes.
Black spots.
Yeah, you can see a kind of sangad,
Mm-hmm.
sangad of boulders. So I'll show you inside also of one of the bunkers. So it was in capturing these that he was hit, but he did not stop, and he continued to lead his men. And it was this fourth bunker which I am pointing out now here. It was to capture this that though he was injured, he lobbed a grenade which burst, and at the same time he got a burst of the small arms on his forehead, and that's where he was martyred over here, killed in action. With his gallant action, he was able to capture this very critical area of bunker, which further led to the success of the operations. There were totally 10 different peaks and 10 different attacks. We'll not be able to describe each one of them. So this area is the area of bunker, which I am showing here. From there, we started to move now towards Khalubar South. This is called Khalubar South, which we were able to capture on the 5th of uh, July. And then to this top, Chucho Donga, as I had mentioned. So this is called the Khalubar top. And in fact, to capture this, it was very well held. Later on, when we got their ration registers, they had a total list of about 127 men who were there. They were also wearing. They had gas masks. I do not know why they had gas masks. Were they planning on something, or they were, thinking of using some kind of chemical or gas? I'm not aware, but we captured totally. We captured more than about 200 gas masks. I hope I have a picture. I will show you those also. And it took about 2 nights of continuous artillery fire. I must say that the artillery really gave us the best of fire support, and it diluted the capability of the enemy to hold on to this. This attack we finally launched at about 3 o'clock in the night or early morning, you can say. And by about 10 o'clock, we were able to capture this peak, which we could see from far and wide. Now,
Sir,
and when we reached
sir, I am
this,
interrupting you, sir. On
yeah,
this, sir, one question came.
yeah,
What were the weapons the enemy were using in Bunker Hill?
I will show you those weapons. Thank you for a
Okay.
question. We will just show you all the weapons which we have captured, so you'll get an idea. So now this is the top of this hill. You've seen this
Uh,
pinnacle, this one.
yes, yes, sir.
So finally, when we reached there, I had a camera and I could take this picture. We did not have the flag of our proud flag of our country, but I always carry in my pocket a notebook. So this is the notebook. This is Lieutenant Satish, who is holding the notebook. Lieutenant Rawat, who is holding the kukri over here, very proudly. And we took this picture. And this was on the 7th of July. But now, the enemy was firing from another post and dominating this place also. Yeah, I've got a little bit of memorabilia over here. This was my one pocket content is the notebook. The other pocket content is our treasure, the Bhagavad Gita. This is the parade state. Can you see this parade state? Alpha Company,
Yes.
Bravo, Charlie, Delta,
Yes, yes,
support,
yes,
order company.
yes,
And the
yes.
total we had was about 200 and few men is what we had.
Okay.
This was initially. Instead of 800, this is the kind of numbers we had. This, what you're seeing over here, was on the 14th of May. These two soldiers, because of the artillery fire at night, we were not able to trace them. We were not able to find them. And finally, we did get Gambhir, the first name. But the second name, that is Lance Naik Durnarayan Shrestha, we could not find at that time. This was on the 14th of May. And he was missing, presumed dead. And finally, we were able to find his body in 2001. That is 2 years later, in July, we found the body of Durnarayan Shrestha. I'll go back. So now from Khalubar, it was the next place that was held and dominating us. This was 0.5287, 5,287 meters. It's being shown over here. And there was no choice. We had to go on and try to capture this. You can see there are steep cliffs on all sides of this. Can you see this? On the right side?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we were able to establish a kind of fire base to fire on the enemy from here, and it was the initiative of these young officers and the junior commissioned officers and the Gurkha soldiers. They just didn't stop, cliff or no cliff. And eventually what happened is that the enemy was completely surprised over there. We were able to capture him. When we reached over there, the pressure cooker whistle was going on. City baj rahi thi pressure cooker ki. It was that kind
They
of
were
surprise.
preparing the lunch.
Sorry?
They were preparing the lunch.
Yeah, it was almost dinner time. Yeah.
Okay.
And mind you, we had started from Yaldor on the 2nd of July. And this was the night of 8th of July. So it had been about 6 days where we had not yet had a proper meal. We were just eating what was in our pockets, what we had carried with us. So the whistle was very, very welcome. Of course, we didn't go and eat their food because you never know what it will be. So this was on the way to 5287. Now you were
Actually,
asking.
sir, one person was asking ki you told us, sir, like no one could stop them. So one person asked, what was it? What was it in the Gurkha boys that got us continuous success?
I know that's a question. I'll ask another counter question. Somebody asked me that you were leading these people. How did you motivate them?
Sir, it
Yes,
was
sir.
my question also. I was thinking to ask you after the presentation.
Actually, I did not need to motivate them at all. They were self-motivated. They were self-driven. They had so much of Josh. Oh, there was no need to motivate them at all. They just went on. Okay, we have to capture this. Enemy is there. Okay, let's go. That's the kind of Josh. We could not see any. They were not tired. I told you they have not eaten for so many days, but they were not tired. We had a number of casualties in these attacks, but they were not afraid. And they were always kind of, I know you cannot run in these kind of cliffs, but they were running. That's the kind of Josh, that's the kind of troops, that's the kind of Gorkhas that we have. And you can see them over here.
Yes.
These are the kind of weapons. This weapon, this long one which you're seeing, is called the 12.7. It's a half-inch machine gun used for anti-aircrafts. And there were so many others which we have captured here, maybe large number of weapons, the 60 millimeter mortars. You can see some masks over here. Can you see this mask?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
So they were using gas masks. This one is a Stinger. It is an anti-aircraft missile of American made. I'll go on to the next picture. So this is the Stinger.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this was 5287. Now, 5287 is higher than Khalubar also. And the Stingers were perhaps kept at what may have been their temporary battalion headquarters to shoot down Indian aircrafts. So now I'll take you back to the 27th of May. On the 27th of May, we were completely on the other side towards Kokartang when the Indian Air Force jets had come. And we saw a Stinger being fired from 0.5287. It goes up, like this. And one of our aircraft went down. That was of squadron leader Ajay Ahuja.
Ajay Ahuja.
Okay.
The Stinger was this one, which I have circled over here. Now, what happened here is that we were able to capture an officer and his diary. This was a diary, a handwritten diary by this officer. We captured the diary, and it was a dated diary. So on that particular date, this is what it says. I have that. Now this is the JCO, Subhadar Indra Bahadur, who actually captured this diary. And I told him, read it out. I was on a different part of the post, and this is what he read. On 27 May 99, today we shot down an Indian MiG. Commanding officer and I, that is whoever has written the diary, went to look at the wreckage and onwards. So this is what we saw from a very far away distance. Khalubar, we saw the missile being fired. And one of my men there, he said, Saab, we must capture that post. That was on 27th of May. And we were in a different direction. And as the operations, unfolded, eventually we did go to 5287 and we did capture this 5287, and we did capture that particular piece of weaponry also. I'll just take you back to this. We captured two things. Yeah.
So sorry for interruption. That
Yeah.
means whatever happened to squadron leader Ahuja was done by the regular army only.
Yes, of course. Stingers are not, see, this officer whom we got was from the frontier force, and we got maybe about more than 100 identity cards from the Northern Light Infantry, 5 Northern Light Infantry. So these are all regular forces. They were not, irregulars or whatever. And we've got identity card, we've got their ration registers and things like that. So there is no question of irregular forces being here. Okay, so I'll go on. So now you can see this picture. We are standing at 0.5287. There is a deep valley which you can see behind. This is called Muntudalo. This was their administrative base from where they were coming. You can see the line of control, which I have marked approximately in this blue line. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
They were coming from this direction, having their administrative base over here. And this point over here point which is marked as 5190 was dominating this whole valley. So from 5287 we decided that, look, if we get 5190, then he cannot sit here if we go and capture this. Now this was
Yes.
very, very far, as you can see, but
Mm-hmm.
none of these men wanted to rest. They said, okay, let's go for 5190. It might take a few days, but we must go there now. So, and it was, we were already, quite a few days without food and water, but it was more important. Victory was more important than food and water. So that's what happened next. So now this is the same picture. Now we've captured all these ridge lines in a series of attacks over here. On the 8th and 9th, we were able to capture Kukartang also. 2 companies went on this flank. Now from 5287, we went down to Montudalo and onwards to 0.519.
কি
From
করছিস রে
the,
তুই?
sorry?
এই
No, no, no. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now this was, this movement, what had happened here was there were a lot of these soldiers, the enemy soldiers who were at 0.5287. We were able to get many of them, but a lot of them ran away from behind. They had a rope tied over there and they could manage to get away. So they were all milling around in this area also, where we were now going next day. So we did come across some of them and were able to neutralize them also. And now on the 10th of July, we really needed some food. We were at this, you can see a small nala over here. This is where we were on the night of 9th, and we really needed some food. A patrol had been sent from here all along this nala, and unfortunately when they came a little close, maybe about a kilometer or so away, we could see them. It was evening time when the enemy opened fire from the area of 5190, and from this area there was a lot of artillery fire, and this patrol could not make much of headway. There were porters, civilian porters who were also there. So at night, their leader, who was a junior commissioned officer, I must tell you this story also. The JCO is a much older person compared to the soldiers. He's had about 20-25 years of service. This gentleman, he reached me all alone. He was carrying such a heavy baggage on his back, and he reached me all alone.
My God.
I asked him, of course we were happy to see him, and we had seen the action of, so much arty firing. People had to go away. The civilian porters, perforce, you cannot endanger them. But this man himself, as the leader of the patrol, he came with what he could carry. Perhaps he was carrying 2-3 other people load also. That's the kind of spirit which he had. And at night, 3 o'clock, he managed to reach me. 3 o'clock at night, he managed to reach me. And I asked him, we were all hungry. So I asked him, Saab, Keliako, what have you got? He put it down and he said, Saab, I've got MMG ammunition. No food. No food.
Oh my God.
Of course, we were happier to get the ammunition because that is what we needed more than food also. So we were happy to see him, but we missed the food.
Even
Anyway.
after 4 days.
Sorry?
Even after 4 days, you didn't have any food.
Yeah, this was the 8th day running.
My God, without food.
No, it was not that we didn't have any food. Sorry. We did have, but very little, comparatively very little. We were able to get some food at 0.5287. What they had at 0.5287, which I told you where we found the stingers, there was a little ice wall. In that ice wall, they had made holes. And in those homes, they used to keep their मटन लेग्स पूरा लेग का लेग रखा हुआ था उसके अंदर you know but we were not keen to have it. You never know, there might be some poisoning, there might be something.
Yes,
So
yes.
we were seeing it, but we could not really you know cook
Trust,
it
trust.
ourselves and have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we did have some atta was there, so we were able to make some rotis. And our boys are not very fond of rotis. We are fond of rice. So, but still, we had a little bit of roti over there. So now I'll go on from here. I don't know where it has gone. Yeah. So that's the area of 0.5190. I will go on to some pictures that have come here. One sec, I'll have to. So these are some of the dead which we were able to get at different places. People ask me how many enemy were you able to get or kill. It's a very difficult question because we never stopped at any place. You can see the sequence of posts that we were capturing one after the other. We did not stop at a place to spend the night and count all the dead bodies and take them and this and that. No, there was no time. So these are pictures of whatever came our way. These are the few of them. Now I'll take you to 5190. Now, this was on the 10th of July that we were able to capture 5190. And then on the next day, we were to go for this 0.5300, which is on the line of control. Just one moment, please.
Sure, sir.
Power. Yeah, sorry. So, Major J.J.S. Rotela, you remember I had mentioned that Major Rotela
Yes,
had got high altitude pulmonary edema.
pulmonary.
Now, that's
Oh, yes, yes.
a very interesting story because he was evacuated to the hospital in Leh, and we got a message from Leh after a few days that, look, your officer is missing. He is not there in the hospital, and we are looking for him. So what he did was, because they were not ready to discharge him, so he went out of the hospital, he took a vehicle, somehow he managed to come to Da and climb all the way back, and he was back in the
Oh my
battle
God.
on his own.
Oh my God.
He was not happy to be left out of the war.
Yes.
So it is
Amazing.
Major Rotela who was to take this attack to 0.5300 on the night of 11th, and he had reached half the way uh, when India declared a ceasefire between Pakistan and India on the day of 11th. He was
Okay.
halfway through. So I was telling him on the radio, ki Jaggi, fall back because there is a ceasefire. So he was not happy. He told me, sir, sorry, nothing heard. I can't hear you.
Well said.
And then he told me that, sir, look, ये सीज फायर तब तक नहीं होगी जब तक हम लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल नहीं पहुंच जाते. There will be no ceasefire. But if they are saying so, then I have not heard you.
Amazing.
So I had to tell him that, look, uh, I am now in a certain position. I cannot violate these rules, whatever has been given. So and if you don't fall back, and if some few people, so soldiers can always, be a casualty. In that case, they will say they died after the ceasefire. There might be some complications and so on and so forth, and to do a lot of explaining to be able to pull back Major Rotela from here that night. But as things happened, uh, the ceasefire did not last. And again, on the 22nd of July, or I don't remember the date exactly, on 22nd of July or so, the ceasefire was called off. And again, though there was a lot of action. I have given you the action of only first 11 Gorkhas that is going on over here. There were many other units over in this area of what you're seeing, these heights over here. All were fighting to capture the posts up to the line of control. So it was here on 22nd of July that we were called back. And again, an attack was launched for point 5300. 5300 is approximately above 17,000, some few hundred feet. So this was captured on the 24th of July. You can see some of the picture. I've given this sketch over here, trying to depict as to how this capture took place. Can you see this on the right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this was 0.5300, and yet there was one more post that was left, which was becoming very difficult to capture. So we were given this task on the 24th, and on 24th, I went along with this whole company to reconnoiter the place and onwards move. Throughout the night of 25th, we moved, and it was a very steep climb. We were able to reach the nearby hill, and from there launch an attack on Tekri on the 26th of July. And at about 3 o'clock in the morning, we were able to capture Tekri. Tekri, 26th of July. And sorry. Yeah, I don't know where that has gone.
What, sir?
Yeah. So it is on 26th of July that we were able to capture Tekri. This is the picture. And we celebrate Kargil Day on 26th of July. I would like to believe that it was the capture of Tekri which it was the last post to be captured on this particular ridgeline. So what I would like to believe is that yes, it was on 26th of July after the capture of Tekri that we could go in for a final ceasefire, and we call this as the Kargil Day, I believe.
So this is you?
Yes, that's me. I had some other pictures. Somehow I am not
It's a
able to
very,
get them.
it's a very, circulated picture in internet also.
Okay, I didn't know that. Anyway, so this is part of the story. Okay, I have to mention some very important things here.
Yes, sir.
As I said, initially when we started, we were short of many things. Radio sets. We were short of telephones. We were short of water equipment, jerry cans, and things like that. And from there, it was difficult to get these in a hurry. So I was able to send a message down to, you were mentioning, how did my wife, or the better half of everybody, the military wife, how she could help out in this kind of a situation.
Yes, sir.
So I was able to get a message down to her that I need telephones. I mean, a military telephone is not the kind of telephone which you use at home. It's a crankshaft cranked kind of a telephone, which fortunately she had seen, and my message could reach her, and she could go down to Chandani Chowk, look for these things, and get them. So I'm just showing this logistic route. So from here, I was able to get a message down to somebody who was in Leh. Mind you, we never had a telephone call. I could never speak to her for the 3 months of this war, starting from the 8th of May till I de-inducted on the 6th of August. So almost 90 days. This story is lasting about 90 days. So, and it was told to somebody who was sitting in Leh, my NCO, who gave a call to separated family quarters where my wife used to stay. She went down. She was able to find these telephones. Now, how to get them back to Kargil? That was a big question. So she was able to contact somebody, go to the airport where they manifest at very early in the morning at about 3 o'clock. She took her children to the airport, took these dabbas one by one, and requested people. This is the kind of telephone, you know.
Hmm.
So, and they were able to carry this back to Leh, from where my NCO recovered it, send it back, and it reached me in a few days.
Amazing.
So that's the kind of support I could get from my wife, Shobita, Mrs. Shobita Asthana. And once this started to work, then I got many things. You know, I would also like to mention here that not only were our ladies, our families with us, the whole country was with us. Later, when we had come down to Pune, a lot of people came to meet us. They wanted to meet people, you know, who had fought the war and things like that. And they would take pictures with us. So this is not I don't have the picture of the people who actually came, but it was something like this. People who came and they wanted to take a picture with us, and we did take. And then I asked them that, who are you? So this is what they were,
This is
and they
beggars.
had collected money and donated to the Kargil fund during the war. Who had
My God.
donated?
The
Beggars.
beggars of Pune.
These were the people. So it was not just the soldiers who were fighting, it was the whole country which
Absolutely.
was won in this battle. So this is the message that I would like to give. It's again gone. One sec. So I come back to the one sec. Now I come back to my heroes, and I have mentioned about my commander, Brigadier Devendra Singh. You know, when we started this, he was controlling a huge area of maybe 40 kilometers by 25 kilometers, and what he had to start with was a handful of men. That was me and my battalion. That's all, about 200 men. That's all he had. And starting with this, eventually he had more than 11 infantry battalions. That's the size of a division, bigger than the size of a division. 11 infantry battalions, so many artillery regiments, engineer regiments. All this was being controlled by one brigadier who normally controls 3 infantry battalions. He was controlling 11 infantry battalions in continuous operations, continuous 90 days of operations. And he was everywhere. He was in the front line everywhere. So I would be, I would not be doing justice if I were not to mention how this small headquarters, you know, a division has got a very huge headquarters. A brigade has got just a handful of 5, 6 officers. In fact, in this case, there were just 4 of them. and they could manage to gain to achieve so much of victory and success in the entire Batalic sector. But other than that, I also have, I must mention two more heroes, which I did not mention earlier.
Yes. Mm,
Really, actually, battle is fought with logistics,
absolutely.
and it was the porter, the Ladakhi porters, and the small donkeys, which could get food, ammunition, weapons to us, where there was no other means. If the helicopters came, the enemy would try to shoot them down. As you're aware, we did lose a helicopter also in this battle.
Mm,
It was these people who were able to sustain us for such a long time, and
yes,
I think they need to be mentioned. They're very important in any kind of situation.
true, sir.
So I finish with this. Thank you that you gave me this opportunity, and I would like to thank all the heroes of this battle. Thank you.
Sir, actually, we could visualize like full. We were watching a movie. It's amazing, sir. And we seeing this, we feel like going to those mountains and just like those are like temples now for us. Like to
And
just
for us also, because we were there at a time, we were lucky to be there. There were so many of us who did not get a chance to be there when they would have liked to be. They would have liked to do much bigger things, much better things, but they didn't get the chance. We were lucky to get the chance to be there. And also, as we can say, there are so many of our brave soldiers whom we remember today who were not fortunate enough to come back to tell the tale. So I think we are
Yes.
fortunate, doubly and many times fortunate. Thank you.
Sir, I just wish to ask you one thing. When I met you in Lucknow a few years back, you told a story about a Gorkha soldier who actually got retired, during the war or just before the war, but he didn't come back. He was there to serve the war.
Yeah, you met me in the regimental center.
Yes, sir.
What happens is that when a soldier retires, a few months before he retires, he comes to the regimental center where he does his documentation and certain other procedures, and then he proceeds ceremonially on retirement. Okay. So when you met me there, yes, retirement was very much on my mind also. So here was a junior commissioned officer who had retired, who was to proceed on retirement, but it was in the middle of the war. So instead of proceeding on retirement, he said, "Okay, I will continue till the end of the war. Why should I go? Now this is not the time to go." And he just continued to serve for the entire war as a non-soldier. If something had happened to him, he would have been, by date, he would have retired. But he served with us throughout. And if I may mention, it is this gentleman who dropped that huge load from his back at 3 o'clock at night at Muntudalo.
okay.
We were trying to keep him away from the battlefield, but he was always coming back into the battle.
Just like Major Rotela, sir, also.
Just like Major and so many others, I would say that
Yes,
all the officers and the men, the soldiers, they have so much of spirit.
yes.
It's really worth seeing, and it's very
Like,
encouraging.
maybe this is the secret of the success actually, the Josh, the love,
I can't hear.
the spirit.
Sorry, sorry, you
No,
were
I
saying,
think
man.
so this is the secret of the success, their love, their the spirit, the Josh they had.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, the in the beginning of the war, we were very few soldiers and very few officers also. That's why I have mentioned some of them. But you know, all of all these officers who were with me, they were I was able to mention only three of these officers over here. I have mentioned Major Rotela. I
Yes,
have
sir.
mentioned Captain Satish, Lieutenant Satish, who was holding the notebook. But there were, so many other officers who have fought this battle. Only those pictures which have come, I've mentioned all of them. And my
Yes.
commanding officer, Colonel Lalit Rai, who led this whole battle. So I should not omit to mention somebody, but there are 18, 20 of them. Okay. So I have finished. Thank you.
Anusha, you are muted. You have to unmute your. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir,
Thank
we
you.
have came across the name of Havildar Bahadur Diwan for a, I mean, whenever we came across the story of Kargil war, but
Yes.
nothing much detail. Can you share some stories of his bravery and his,
Yeah.
I mean,
I will have to take
his
you back.
contribution?
So you see this area of Khalubar,
Yes, sir.
what I mentioned over here.
Yes,
Now
yes.
he was along with my commanding officer, and at that time there were very few who were in that area, and they were say under fire and surrounded. As I've shown you the picture, that the battle was going on in so many different parts of the
Hmm.
objective area. So this was another battle that was going on, and he was caught by the enemy, and from there he managed to they were able to take his weapon, but not his kukri was still with him. So in a scuffle, he was able to get away from them and kind of fallen off this cliff, which I had shown you sometime earlier. Okay, let me find that place from somewhere here. Okay, you can see this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now we did not know where is Bhim Bahadur. It was along this. There were so many of these enemy soldiers over here. He he managed to traverse through them. He was able to kill, as we were told, about three of them in the way, and he did not know which direction to go at night. So he landed up at our mortar position, and there, this is what I am told by the mortar position, that we thought that we could see a ghost coming
Oh
because he was full of blood, and they,
my God.
they thought he was ghost because they thought, whether Bhim Bahadur is alive or not, nobody knew. But when they saw him over there, they were so happy to see him, and then he kind of narrated his story, that how he has managed to reach this place, how many people he's been able to kill and root. And in subsequent searches, we were able to find, I was telling you, so many bodies of the enemy, which was not our role. We kept moving from one capture to another. So
Yes.
this is Bhim Bahadur, all on his own, single-handedly, with a kukri, just with a kukri. He was able to get so many of the enemy soldier and reach our mortar position, which was very, very important. So that was the story of Bhim Bahadur in short.
This is absolutely an unheard story.
Yes.
No, it is recorded there in our citation.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So any other?
Sir, can we have ma'am for 2 minutes?
She is not ready to talk. But she's coming. I've convinced her to come.
Just for
Sir,
2 minutes.
Hello, good evening.
good evening, Namaste,
Good
ma'am.
evening, ma'am. Thank
She
you
is the
so
one
much,
who
ma'am, to sitting with us.
Ma'am, you are an inspiration to
Uh,
us.
yeah, thank you.
She's an inspiration to me.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, it's not just the telephones from
Yes,
her. You see, when we got pictures, all the pictures that you see of the actual battle space, what you're seeing, the real pictures, this one in front. Now,
Yes.
I had an, I had a electronic camera which got spoiled on the first day.
Oh,
Plus, I had an old Agfa Click 3 type of camera, you know, which has got no battery, no controls, no focus, nothing.
mm-hmm.
So all these pictures are from that camera. Now there was no scope of getting anything developed and printed over there. So I used to put them in an envelope, send them down from again it was sent to the same circuit which I showed you. It would be sent by air all the way down to Delhi, from where somebody would give it to her. She would get it printed from one very secure photographer who would get all those printed. And all these pictures are a treasure today because she was able to get hold of them and not lose them, you know. Otherwise, to get anything printed was very difficult. In Leh, it was not feasible. These are classified photographs. We should not be getting them done there. So we
yes.
could get
Absolutely.
them done from a very secure lab in Delhi. So there are many contributions by Shobita.
Ma'am, how did you manage during that 3 months? You could not even speak to sir for once, and there were lots of reportings from the war zone. And how could you manage with the children alone in Delhi?
It was very tough, and prayers is, what took you along, and a lot of hope, and one kept praying. And then, luckily for me, my parents were there in Delhi, and my mother came and stayed with me in those days. And also, since we were in separated family quarters, we were a group of friends who were a support for each other because all our husbands were at the front. Some
Okay.
were at the glacier or some other place. So we were kind of a support for each other, and that's what took us along in those days. The support from each other, and of course the children. You have to carry on
Yes,
for their sake. You just can't sit down and you want to be part of it. You want to help out in the way you can. So one has to keep
absolutely.
moving. Yeah. And knowing and I used to write letters to him without fail. I would write few lines to him every day. It was like a prayer. I had to write to him. I was not sure whether he were receiving or not, but we kept writing to him. So, other than one odd letter which I got from him, or a little note which the NCO at Leh who read out his messages, I could not talk to him on the phone, of course. So,
So, thank you so very much for giving us this time,
Sir,
and thank you, ma'am.
Anusha,
Yes.
I'm just interrupting you. Sir, actually, we have two special messages, sir. One is from Colonel Akhil Shah of Assam Regiment. He had actually commented that Sir had the privilege of serving along with your unit in Sri Lanka during OP Pavan. I participated in an op with a company of your unit commanded by Major Shekhar Upadhyay.
Oh,
So,
it's so
yeah,
nice to hear from him. Colonel
he was
Shekhar
watching.
Upadhyay was my commanding officer in the Siachen Glacier. He,
Okay.
he, he was commanding the battalion in Siachen Glacier, and he was such a fine commanding officer and leader. I must, full respect to him. Thank you indeed.
Colonel Akhil Shah is watching it. Also, there is a message from Mrs. Tarulata Acharya, wife of Major Padmapani Acharya. She said that she met you last in Hyderabad during Kargil Vijay celebration.
Yes, last year we had gone there, and I was so fortunate to be sitting next to her, and I could talk to her and learn about Major Acharya. That was so encouraging, and I must say, that alone this lady has managed.
Yes.
Her story was so touching, I must say.
Yes,
I wish I
yes.
could have spent more time there.
Amazing. Like she's a pillar of strength,
Again,
sir. Like she raised
I
a
tell you,
beautiful girl,
and
taking care of the parents. Yeah.
I was almost, what can I say? I was so touched because I could hear about Major Acharya and his daughter from her. That was last year in, I think, July or August sometime. Uh,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Ma'am,
you.
even people are commenting for like, ma'am, hats off to you, Jai Hind. So they all are like very, very excited seeing today's session.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
Thank you.
facilitating it. I must also say this, that whatever we have spoken is, uh, it is in our hearts. We would like to share it, and you have given us the opportunity. We would like to thank you for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thank
here I
you,
would
sir.
like to mention that when I met you in Lucknow, there were a group of Gurkha soldiers who called on that day, who
Yes.
shared their stories of Kargil also. Among one of them told me that they climbed up to a bunker, and they I mean captured that bunker, and then found themselves surrounded by the Pakistani bunkers everywhere. And as he described it, 6 दिन कुछ नहीं मिला मैम, बट हम बैठे रहे, हम कुछ नहीं खाया, हम बंकर नहीं छोड़ा. So this story was, I am saying, sir, at the initial days of lockdown, when people was very getting panicked every time, that what to do, then I used to tell this story to everyone, that this is called a lockdown. We are sitting under a safe shelter, we are having the essentials in the market. This is nothing. This is the Gorkha
Yeah.
soldier who faced what is called lockdown for 6 7 days.
Yeah,
So
indeed.
you,
Sorry, you were saying something.
so I'm just saying, sir, that you all were the inspiration for us for last 21 years.
Yes, sir.
I think we are grateful to you, but everybody has the strength, and you can see in the lockdown also, or what is happening. There are so many good people who have come forward to help in society. They have
Yes.
done such great things. So wherever you get a chance, wherever we get a chance, we should be doing whatever we can. Like she was saying that you can see the situation, but you would like to help. Instead of just watching, you might like to contribute. You would like to do something, and later on look back and say, "Look, in that situation, I did whatever I could." And you don't think I could have done this, but मैंने किया नहीं. ऐसा सोचना नहीं.
Yes.
ऐसा कभी मौका ही नहीं आना चाहिए.
Bilkul, sir.
And as far as she was reminding me, in the army you would have come across so many posts which are called winter cutoff posts. Are you aware of them?
No, sir.
So there are so many posts which are held by our soldiers, which cannot be reached in the winter because of the snow. So the option is either you vacate those posts for the winter, and then you never know, enemy can come and sit down there from his side because it's easier, or you hold those posts during the winter.
Mhm.
So what happens is, somewhere around October or so, or depending on the snowfall over there, the post is occupied by, say, about 10 men or something like that, 10 12 people. and they cannot be reached by any means. So they will remain over there, whatever food, etc. they've got, they will consume that. They can speak on radio and sometimes on a telephone line if it is functional. It has not gone down in an avalanche. And they will remain there till maybe the next year, August, sometimes July, depending on when the snow melts. So that is good. Sometimes 6 months, 4 months, 8 months, that a post is isolated. They just live there, those 10 people.
In a very
small area, and they are under enemy observation, and sometimes under enemy fire, enemy sniper fire, artillery fire. So that's the kind of soldiers who sustain over there. Imagine if you're staying alone, I mean, isolated in a place like this. Not only many other things, even psychologically, it needs a lot of strength. So there are so many posts that the Indian Army is holding, which are winter cutoff posts. Talking about those few days, 6 days, 7 days, yeah.
Brigadier Kushal Thakur sir, when came to interact with us, he also mentioned this psychological war which actually our soldiers faced in those posts. He also told about it.
Yeah.
it's
Luckily,
very
I think
tough.
our soldiers are very tough and very hardy. They're emotionally and psychologically, I think they are very, very hardy. And I think it has a lot to do with the fabric of the Indian family, because the family is close knit. It's a larger family, so they have a lot of strength which comes from the family and from society. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'll excuse myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Yes, sir.
absolutely, sir.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
so much,
Thank you so
sir.
much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best. Jai Hind.
Thank
Jai
you.
Hind, sir.
Jai Hind, sir. Jai Hind.